Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the new YSL Touche Eclat Lip Cushion Foundation. I've had this foundation for the last 2 months, but I've only started using it a couple of weeks ago and I really like it. Today I'm going to show you how it applies and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on that. It comes in the most gorgeous square golden compact. You have 15 grams of product inside and it retails for $48 in the US and £40 in the UK. Inside there is a big mirror which is really comfortable, and what's interesting about this new foundation is the sponge. I'm not a fan of sponges and I always prefer to apply my foundation with a brush, but I have to say that this sponge is brilliant. It has two sides. The smooth side, you're supposed to use it by swiping motion and apply the foundation all over your face, and there is a flocked side as well which you can use by tapping motion to emphasize some parts of your face or where you want to have a little bit more perfected look. I personally like to use the flocked side all over my face just because I like the finish that it gives. It gives you a really glowy and perfected look. Alright, so let's start with the application. I'm going to be using the sponge that comes inside. So this is the smooth side of the sponge and I'm going to be using it on the right side of my face. And this is the flocked side and I'm going to use it on the left side of my face. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that you can see how my skin is going to look before and after the application. And now I'm going to be using the flocked side of the sponge on the left side of my face. Now, as you can probably see, it's not easy to get into the inner corners of the eyes and also the nose using the sponge. That's why I'm going to use a small concealer brush, as I always do, just to get into the corners of my eyes. And the nose as well. So this is how the foundation looks like when I apply a thin layer all over my face. As you can see, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but on the side where I used the flocked side of the sponge, the left side of my face is a little bit more dewier than the right side of my face where I just used swiping motion and the flat side of the sponge. I personally prefer using the flocked side of the sponge because it gives a little bit higher coverage, which you can't really see, but it's a little bit more perfected in real life. And when I look at my skin in a magnifying mirror, it looks a bit more perfected when I use the flocked side of the sponge. This is a very lightweight, very pleasant foundation. If I have to describe it just in a few words, I would say this is Touche Eclat in a cushion. It's very hydrating, it applies beautifully on the skin, it feels very nice and very hydrating, but the coverage is definitely light. It can be built up to somewhere in between light to medium coverage, but I would say it's not a full medium coverage. It's not going to give you that full medium coverage. So if you have any major redness, scarring or acne, I would definitely not recommend this one. Also keep in mind that if you start building up this foundation, it gets even more dewy and more glowy. So I would not recommend building up too much, especially if your skin is normal to combination. I would 100% recommend this foundation to those of you who have normal to dry skin or normal skin. If you like dewy foundation, or if you want a foundation that feels very hydrating and very lightweight on the skin, this is definitely a great one. As far as longevity, it's definitely not the most long-lasting foundation, but it stays like good 4 or 5 hours on my skin. Keep in mind that my skin is normal to combination, so I can imagine that on a dry skin this is going to last a bit longer. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the shades of this foundation. I'm normally in the shade B20 or BD20 in the YSL range. However, with this cushion, I'm wearing B30 and it suits perfectly to my skin. Now, when I was purchasing the previous cushion that was released by YSL, I got this one in number B20 and it was just not working for my skin. At first, in the store, I tested this out on the back of my hand and B20 looked great on the back of my hand. However, when I came back home and when I tested this on my face, it looked so incredibly pale that I could not wear it. It looked like totally this is not the shade for me. So I would definitely recommend you trying this foundation on your face, not on the back of your hand, if you can, before purchasing it, because you might end up being surprised with the shades, even if you know what your shade is in the YSL range of foundations. I don't know why is that. I guess probably it's because this foundation is very, very illuminating, as is the previous cushion, but just B20 doesn't look right on my skin. So all in all, I have to say that this is a beautiful foundation. It's very lightweight, it's very moisturizing. It is suitable for people who have normal to dry, normal to slightly combination, but not oily skin. It gives you that beautiful, healthy glow. It makes your skin look very fresh, very moisturized. It is definitely not a special occasion foundation, but it's a great daytime foundation. I would definitely repurchase this one. So I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions regarding this foundation, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Bye!